photoreal. And so that's kind of what happened here. And then if you get over to the parking lot, you can see some of the effort was made here in this area, and then you just have this like abrupt seam that runs along there, which is rather abrupt. So those are things that I point out with any scenery where I see it. And Orbix lately, you know, they just want to shut me up. So I guess they just, you know, they go in and do it. And, you know, I remember because when Misha was working on Lake Tahoe back in the day, and the first screenshot he sent me was a screenshot of the parking lot. And that was the same case with Jared when he released Monterey. He's like, all right, you see that? Nothing is sitting on photoreal, so, you know, you better not pick on me. So nevertheless, but I do see it here, and so nevertheless, I do point that out. We're making our way over to the control tower building here. And as it pertains to all the buildings and the textures, I'm actually rather impressed. I mean, everything here looks just lovely. And if you compare this, oh, don't hit the control tower. Although that background image does seem kind of rough, though. I'm not, this is not my, oh, there it is. All right, so Matthias did point that out. Something to do with DX9 and DX10. Something with that I need to look at. So I will make it a point to try to pull up that control panel to make sure we take a look at that. So that evidently that's a fault of mine for not looking at the control panel. And quite frankly, I didn't even pull up the manual, and I always do that before a stream. Given the fact that it's like 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever it is here, I'm just not thinking clearly on that. So I really should have gone through and checked that. So I'll slap myself on the wrist for that. But yeah, looking at the actual like building textures, though, everything here is really nice. It really is just that imagery, that sort of reflection in the control tower, that's kind of grasping my attention. But I mean, really, aside from that, very nicely done. Although, oh, there it is. I was going to say, although the fence is missing. No, there's the fence. The fence is there. So we're going to pull up that control tower, that control panel, and see if we can correct that, the little box that's floating there in the background. And I will get back to the comments here in just a moment. Just making our way over to the fuel tanks. And again, just as a disclaimer, you're noticing that there are some winter textures here, and that is because I did not disable the winter textures in the control panel. So those are set to on by default. But nevertheless, once we switch over to winter, everything should appear together just nicely. And I'm actually really curious to see how the entire area was colored for winter. That should be pretty nice. And here we are back over here at the Atlantic Aviation again. And again, very nicely done on the 3D vehicles. There are some developers out there that I highly respect, and when it comes to like making cars and trucks, they get really lazy, and it's just pixels with wheels, square wheels, like in South Park. You know how in Canada it's like square wheels. I've seen like really developers like that I really respect do that. But here the cars look really nice, very nicely done. You can actually make out like that's a Land Rover, you know, where that's a, I have to look at what the other vehicles were, but like you can make out that's like a, you know, a 1990s, you know, year model Land Rover. I wanted to take a look at that Windstar Aviation hangar there. Very nice. Or Weststar. I said Windstar. Weststar Aviation. And there's even a little security camera there on top of that. So yeah, a lot of these vehicles you can make out very nicely done, as well as these fuel trucks. Atlantic Aviation fuel trucks there. Sorry, this is not my best helicopter flying here tonight. So getting back to the Tarmac, again, I don't want to say that the Tarmac looks bad. I mean, he definitely colored it so it looks like concrete. So it is, I don't necessarily feel that, oh my God, I'm riding on top of photoreal, but it's definitely noticeable. And here we have another FBO, or no, this might be the terminal. This is the terminal here. Very nice. Taking a look at the terminal. And you can see here like how he did these sidewalks. See, that's what I'm talking about. You know, he did these sidewalks, this area right in front of the, in fact, let me just switch over here. You can see here how he did these sidewalks. And that's very nicely done, but then it kind of just abruptly gives way to the road in the photoreal. which is what the little lines there that the cars are parked in between. That's like the legitimate, I guess, a legitimate photo reel there. Go back to spot view there because I can't really see what I'm doing. So here, and then you can also see, now here, I don't know if this is still photo reel or if this is custom. That's kind of hard to tell. So let's just walk up. Everyone say hello to Avatar Guy. Oh my god, dude, are you stuck or what? Dude, just hang on a second, man. I'm trying to get the heck out of here. What's with the moonwalking, man? Let's go. Jeez. Alright, so, yeah, so here you can see nice ground textures here, like just in this walkway. And then you have these nice... Oh, wow, he doesn't want to go there. Come on. So here you have some nice green textures here. I mean, the way this whole area is done, very nicely. So I guess the only thing that really could make this area a little bit better would have been to have kind of the custom road markings or custom roads, I guess, done the way like these like footpaths or sidewalks here were done. But nevertheless, it's not a big deal. But it does look nice. Nice departure sign there. I wonder if that's lit up at night. We're gonna find out. And here we have the main arrivals area, or entrance, I should say. There's like a box there, and he's like moonwalking it. So we're gonna head back to the helicopter here. Or are we stuck? Are we stuck, Avatar, or what? What's going on? So really loving the way that terminal looks. And I mean, if you think back to the original version of Aspen, I mean, this is just a million times better, obviously. And by the way, if you do notice flickering textures, that's Avatar Guy's fault, so don't hold it against the scenery there. Let me catch up on comments really quickly. Hang on one second. And Rolio's here, and he says the difference between this one and the old Aspen is staggering. Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely definitely light and day. Let's go ahead and switch over to winter. I see there's a lot of people ready for winter textures. Your screen might go black for just a moment. Let's go to February. One thing I learned is you have to go to certain specific dates to get like full-on winter and prepared. Let's give that just a second, and while we do that, let me just scroll through comments here really quickly. Sorry, I'm just reading some of your funny jokes here. Just scrolling down. So we will, sorry, we will pull up the winter textures first, and then we'll take a look at those night textures. And you should see winter now showing up on your screen there. Just a moment. Rolio says it's typical DeAndre to not read and jump ahead of himself. Yes, it is. You can berate me for that. And give me a second here. Fabian is pointing out that most of Aerosoft's latest releases include tools to change different things such as seasons. And we're being hosted by the Sky Lounge. I don't know who that is, but thank you. Thank you to the Sky Lounge. Let's see. I'll have to follow Sky Lounge back. Haven't. Fabian tried to post a link in there. Fabian, you can do that again. Give me just a second here. Fabian, and where is Matthias as well? And I'm not sure if it's Matthias or Mathis. I always wondered that. So, okay, so both of you can post links or whatever you'd like to put in there. Not a problem. Yes, we did have some spammers in the past, but they are able to post links now. Not a problem. And Fly Cathay is from Los Angeles too. Yes, I am in Los Angeles, and it is. Is it 1:30? I have no idea what time it is. I can't see the time because I'm in the simulator at the moment. And we just switched over to winter texture, so now we have the full winter complement. And all the leaves from those aspen trees are gone. And they were right. Looks much better in winter. Let's swing around here and take a look at the airfield side of the main terminal. You see, this is what I'm talking about right here. Oh, look at that. There's like a little basketball hoop. See, this is I guess what I'm trying to point out. Let me see slew mode. There we go. Like this is tarmac textures right here, where these airplanes are sitting on, and this is kind of what I'm hoping to see, kind of for the entire tarmac area. And that's nice and crisp. That's sharp. That looks good. And so that's kind of, you know, whenever I review an airport, be it a written review or a stream, that's kind of what I look at. Is I look for these type of ground textures, and obviously these are this is added concrete because this is pavement. You can tell this is like tarmac pavement, and then they have these areas here which is concrete for the weight of the aircraft, because obviously you know, when you're on a ramp, aircraft should always usually be parked on concrete as opposed to tarmac pavement because of the weight of the aircraft. After a while, the quality of the tarmac starts to sink. It's a big problem that we have at LAX, and as a result, we're constantly having to repave taxiways and stuff like that. But always on the ramp, you will see that they're concrete because concrete lasts so much longer. So you can see the custom sort of tarmac textures, and then you see it here as well. And you even have this nice coloration here, which looks very nice, and then it gives away to photoreal. And now that I'm looking at it, I've kind of confirmed that this really is kind of just a textured photoreal that the airport sits on. So it would not be fair for me to not beat up the developer for that and then beat up other developers who have done it in the past who no longer do it. So I had to definitely point that out. You know, and I guess what I would like to encourage the developer to do is to at some point release an update to go ahead and texture the rest of these tarmac textures here, this photoreal, and actually put the tarmac in. And the same would go for the runway. Again, maybe 90% of people wouldn't possibly care less, but as part of my review style, that is definitely one of the things that I point out. But that said, this little bit of tarmac that we do see here, or this like kind of sidewalk textures is here, and what was done here, it looks really good. So I could just imagine kind of the rest of the airfield kind of looking like that. I mean, it'd be perfect, but nevertheless, I do see that. But what was done does look very nice. So let me just switch back out of slew mode here. And then as it pertains to some of this like ground support equipment here, like these little ramps here for boarding the aircraft, all that was done nicely. And then the big thing, which is kind of the big elephant in the room here, because I believe my commercial air traffic is turned off. So I'm pretty sure what we're looking at here are static aircraft. And I gotta say, these are like some of the best static aircraft I've ever seen. One of the things when it comes to static aircraft is, I guess developers try not to put too many polygons in them, so certain parts of them wind up looking blocky. But this is quite good. I mean, these are very sharp-looking AI models. Or not AI, but static models, excuse me. And you even have some of that sort of, what do you call it, the specular sort of shine on the windows there, which looks very nice. So I'm definitely very much impressed with these static CRJs. Cough, cough, CRJ. I won't go there. And then, of course, taking a look. Here we go. I was wondering if we were going to find any de-icers here. There they are. So, oh, and look at what's going on down here. Oh, I like this. Hang on. Let's get a little bit lower. This little area here underneath the... actually, I'm just going to switch to slew one more time here. So we see this nice little area here right underneath this is where the baggage conveyors are. This looks very nice. Have some Sky West bulk carts and trolleys here. We have obviously it's United, so it would be Sky West, and we have these nice. This looks like is that an air starter or a GPU? Maybe those look too big to be GPU, so they look like air starters. Very nice though. And I'm definitely impressed. Let's see here. Sorry, I just got a message from someone. I'm sorry. Give me a second. I got to hold short here for 1 second. Does anyone ever have that problem with the iPhone 5 or the iPhone 6 where the biometric doesn't work and you got to put in your password and your password has like 30 characters? One second. Okay, yeah, I wanted to read that message. That was important. Okay, sorry about that, folks. So yeah, taking a look at some of these GSEs here. Got United, SkyWest, Continental, and what is this? And now he's telling me to ignore his messages because he's watching. And it looks like just kind of like a ramp office there. And here, these look like, I guess, like cargo materials or something like that. Let's go back to helicopter mode. So overall, definitely the winter textures. It looks a lot better during the winter. And one of the things that I like too is how you can kind of see the roads here. Some of these areas are cleaned up a little bit there. Some of the roads where the snow kind of wraps around. Really loving his vegetation though with those aspen trees. Very nice. Very nicely done. And there's actually another little building over here that I missed. There's another de-icer sitting out there. I wonder if that appears once we switch over to winter textures. Good question. And I know there's some more comments popping up over there, and I'll get to those in just a second. Usually on the late night streams, I'm a little bit more personable. I tend to use my late night sexy voice. But then once I saw Matthias Koch was here, which is like one of the gods of the community, I was like, I guess I got to start behaving a little bit here. And forgive me, I have some bad allergies going on right now, so my voice is kind of on the fritz here a little bit. Let's move away from the airport a little bit before we go to the full night lighting and take a look at the valley. I still think this is too black though. That's still too dark. That could have been cleaned up a little bit more, that like kind of dark shadow. And one of the things that I can definitely say about the developer is he spent a lot of time working on custom autogen. And that's something that's a really big deal in a place like Aspen, because you do have these sort of indigenous type architecture and some of these mansions too. Hey, does anyone think the house from Dumb and Dumber is in here anywhere by any chance? One of my all-time favorite movies. So you can see here he's put a lot of effort into some of these like custom houses. I'm assuming this is like just somebody's house right here. Like that's Jordan King's house right there. Just like boom. Suck it. That's Jordan's house. That's where he goes during the winter. And right across this little gully here, this little town here, again, we have more of these custom buildings here. So some real efforts put into these. Very nice. And I definitely respect that, the custom autogen. I definitely respect that. I know that placing autogen on top of photoreal is a pain in the butt as it is. And then to take the time to create kind of these custom objects here, because Aspen is a place of its own. It is not your typical American mountain town, so it's very important to sort of replicate the architecture that you would find up here. So definitely kudos to the custom autogen place up here. In fact, let's swing around here and make our way over into Aspen proper. You got a lot of these houses here up on the ridge. What's our altitude up here? Altitude is about 8,500 feet. So you get a lot of this custom autogen up here. And make our way down to the town now. One of the things I definitely want to find, and I hope I didn't need the configuration tool, but I want to find that chairlift. Let's see if I can find that, and I'm gonna try to catch up here on some of the comments while I fly here. Give me a second. I'm gonna try to multitask, and usually, whenever I try to multitask something, I crash. So let's see if I can manage. And if we can, let's not ask about the CRJ, folks, please. I mean, this is not the place. Thank you. Let's see. And the Sky Lounge says emergency crews are standing by for some of my landings. Yes, if you've watched any of my previous streams. Yes, and that all started with the, I believe that was Aerosoft Lisbon. And I was running my mouth for so long that I don't know what happened. I guess I kind of blacked out, and I was in the Aerosoft A320 and the Aerosoft Airbus landing at Aerosoft Lisbon, and we kind of went down with no landing gear. So ever since then, my horrible flying has become something of a staple of live streams. I'm gonna get a little bit closer to the ground here. Take a look at the water masking there. All these little lakes, streams, rivers going through here. Where is that chairlift? It's around here somewhere. I'm still looking for it. Give me just a minute. And Jordan is asking if he should invite the Dovetail people in. Of course! And Misha says, all I can say is that's an accurate representation of the mansion Jordan lives in. No comment. Jordan says he lives in California. He's going to file for bankruptcy any day now. Yeah, I think it's time to leave the state. Everything is so expensive. It's terrible that I pay more than $2,000 a month for a place that I do not own. That's just ridiculous. All right. And actually got the notice a couple days ago. They went up again. Gentrification is what they call it. Honestly, I can tell you this neighborhood has never been better, though. We've got all these new trendy not nightclubs, but yeah, well, not nightclubs, but like bars and upscale restaurants and stuff that are all walking distance from our home now. It's all beautiful, but we're paying a premium for that now. So I'm not sure how long we're going to pay for that premium. But it's nice to be able to go out and get a little bit tipsy and not have to drive or rely on a cab to get home. That's always a lovely thing, and you know, not being far from the beach helps. All right, here it is. These lovely animated. Oops, I'm hitting buttons on my laptop that I should be hitting on the computer. There we go. These lovely animated lifts. I love little toys like this in the simulator. And I guess I'll go ahead and follow this thing up, see how high it goes. Yeah, we thought about making a trip to one of these Colorado mountain towns in the winter, but, I mean, unless you're only going to stay for one night, which would pretty much probably cost you $1,200, it's probably not worth it. Especially during the winter. I mean, these places just pack up. It's insane. It would be nice to But, yeah, I don't think so. But very beautiful nonetheless. Maybe I'll find something on Groupon one day. We'll just follow this up and see how high this goes while I continue to attempt to navigate this. Just trying to still make my way a look at some comments while you all have a look at the scenery in action. And Rolio says the town looks great. A little bit of feedback from one of the viewers. And everybody's about ready for night. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get to the top of this this summit, and then we'll switch over to not quite night. I'm going to try to get us as close to dusk as I can with a little bit of light, because once we go full-blown night, then we can't really see anything. And Skylines is asking, am I in the Bay? No, I'm in Los Angeles. Not exactly Los Angeles, but LA area. And B Crawley 57 says the ski lift is too fast, but nice. Yeah, I'm not even sure. I don't even know how developers even do this stuff, like how they get these things to follow these paths. Because obviously, they're not really attached to the wire, right? So they're like just floating in the air along a path, I guess is how that works. So I'm not even sure how they do that, but I just know that it's really cool. And wow, this winter does look lovely. Let's see. Oh, Jordan says Amy Sanjari from Dovetail is on her way. Wow, you guys are going to keep me up all night, aren't you? Let's see. And I'm actually really looking forward to testing out that flight school, playing around with that. It's been such a long time since I've had another simulator to fly, you know, with the exception of DCS. I remember back in the 90s, we had there was 15 flight simulator titles. There were a bunch of them. And then eventually Microsoft just kind of dominated them all, and they all kind of just disappeared. You had X-Plane, but that was only for Macs. That was only for Big Macs. And that was it. All right, here we are at the top of the summit. I guess I should find a place to land up here somewhere. Look at the ski runs over there across the valley. That's awesome. And also, take a look at that. Just look at the far off horizon there. I love that shader. That just looks really awesome. That kind of blue shader. I know some of you are tuned in a little bit later into the stream, but earlier on I was talking about the realism shader freeware tool that's going to be coming out really soon. And if you go back and watch this on YouTube in the beginning, you can kind of take a little bit of a look at that a little bit more. But I love the way the shader, you know, how it just kind of fades out into blue out on the horizon. It just looks really cool. All right, I guess let's land right here, huh? And see if we can find a nice timing for the night lights. So your screen might keep touching the laptop instead of the computer, sorry. Let's see here. So your screen might go black for just a second. Time and season. Oh, that's too dark. Let's try 7:30 in the afternoon or in the evening and see what happens there. Alpha Fox Sierra says, hey, hey, hey. Let's see here. Let's see. That's Amy. Someone said, hey, man. Amy, hi. How are you? Amy's going to be back at this year's Flight Sim Con, so looking forward to interviewing the team from Dovetail. And, of course, by then, Flight School would have already been out, so we would have already had our impressions of that and really putting a lot of focus into the upcoming full-fat simulator, which I think a lot of people were really, really curious about. And I imagine a lot of people like me are going to rush out and get that Flight School just so we can get an idea of what a new simulator designed brand new for 2016 is going to look like. So I think that's going to be, really, really interesting to get a little bit more insight on that as well. So it doesn't look dark. I'm not sure what happened there. Oh, you know what? I know why. That's because the time preview was still turned on. I didn't even realize it. It's not going to change the time because this is throwing everything off. So what I'll do is I'll use time preview to give me an idea of what time I want. I think this is fine. That's about 5:37 p.m. Cancel. And let's do the time one more time. So it's 5:37 p.m. Click OK. And actually, you know what? Let me change it one more time just to make sure, because I know that if we don't do it just right, some of the lights won't load up. And I've had a couple of developers beat me up for doing that. So, no, that's too bright. Hang on. Sorry. Go away. Time and season. Here's a question for Amy. Amy, do you guys ever feel like I beat up on you guys a little bit too much over there at Dovetail? Sometimes I wonder if you feel that way. I know I'm very critical, just being a natural critic of things. And, of course, my opinions are not the best opinions out there. But I do wonder if you guys ever feel that way, because it's not my intention to. But I think by law, I'm just critical as a flight simulation enthusiast. So I think I tend to write on behalf of how I feel and how I see things as an enthusiast. I guess the only difference between me and the average enthusiast is they really don't have a forum to really voice their opinion. But I think I have also sort of, made clear that I really am enthusiastic about some of the things you guys are doing there and really looking forward to getting my hands on it. I don't see the city lights on yet, so I'm thinking it's still early. Fabian, is it still a little bit too early here? Because I see these buildings have lit up, or maybe I just can't see it because I'm so high up. I guess that could be it too, huh? So I'm going to roll back down the mountain here a little bit and get back into the city, and then maybe we'll see the lights a little bit brighter. This scene reminds me of Operation Condor. Remember that old Jackie Chan movie from 1995, I think it was? Where he's like on the snowboard and the helicopters are chasing him down the ski slopes. That was a fun movie. Oh, there's the lights. Okay, I see it now. Look at that vista. Looks beautiful. Just beautiful. And a lot of people here today that are going to be at Flight Sim Con. So I don't know if Fabian is coming out to Flight Sim Con or not. I didn't ask him. That should be a good question, Fabian, if you're coming. But Matthias Koch is here. He'll be at Flight Sim Con. Jordan King. Misha Saich is going to be there. As well as Aerosoft's CEO, Winfried Diekman. He'll be there as well. Amy is going to be there. I'm going to be there. So, I mean, I think, this year's Flight Sim Con is really kind of going to be a rare treat that we're going to have so many people in one roof. And I think that's going to make an excellent opportunity, I think, networking-wise, just between all of the different vendors and the different development teams that are going to be there to actually make FaceTime with a lot of people that they're doing business with or could do business with in the future. You never know. So I think that's great. Little bit of chatting there between Amy of Dovetail and Matthias of Aerosoft, two obviously very large companies that are devoted to flight simulation. So I think it's an excellent opportunity, not just for fans of flight simulation, but for those whose life depend on it in terms of, well, I think all our lives depend on flight simulation, but for those who are engaged in flight simulation as a living, for them to all to be able to sort of connect with each other, because it's kind of weird. For many of us, flight simulation is, something we do when we go home, but we never really think about the fact that flight simulation is stuff that people do when they get up and go to work. You know what I mean? That's kind of weird, thinking about it like that. Like, I mean, this is what people do for a living. I wish this is what I could do for a living, but I think it's an excellent opportunity for a lot of people to sort of get together and network. And Matthias actually is saying that Winfried was over in the UK over at Dovetail's headquarters just last week. So indeed, looks like some potential networking to happen between Aerosoft and Dovetail as well. So, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's always great when we are able to see, so many different entities working together. Because I think in the end, everyone benefits. That's always the highlight when it comes to everyone working together. Obviously, America's all about competition and what's the big word there? Capitalism. But I don't think capitalism works to everyone's benefit in every scenario. Oh, that was a nice house. What was that? It looks like, wow, that's either like a big mansion or a hotel or a lodge. When it comes to flight simulation, it can at times be quite the opposite. We use the term niche quite a bit, but it is my hopes that, with the efforts that Dovetail is doing, that it won't be such a niche anymore, and that it can be something that's more mainstream. I mean, I think it's always been a niche in a sense on behalf of the way Microsoft perceived things, not because Flight Simulator wasn't making money. I think it was always making money. It just wasn't making Battlefield type money or whatever games they were developing that were, punching almost, $500 million to $1 billion, and maybe Flight Simulator was only bringing in 100 million or 200 million, just not really the type of numbers that, other video games usually bring in. And maybe the reason being is because video games, there's sort of you have a what's the term? I'm trying to figure out what building this is, because I love the way the colors and how it's lit up at night. Can someone tell me what building that is? That looks really beautiful. I like that. That's lovely. You have, there's an objective. You have a protagonist and an antagonist, and, you've got to kill the terrorist or, steal the car and beat up the guy or whatever. But there's always some sort of an objective with video games. And flight simulation, aside from missions, the only objective is whatever you want it to be, and that's typically getting an airplane from one place to the other, I guess, essentially. But there is nothing to, well, yeah, you can shoot, you can shoot your friends if you have something like TAC Pack and stuff like that, but, it's not really a video game. And I think when people go to sit down at their computers, they're looking for that video game challenge. A lot of people don't see landing a 737 with a 45-mile-per-hour crosswind with potential wind shear as a fun challenge. Maybe they see that as something terrifying. I don't know, but nevertheless, flight simulation has not ever really brought in the kind of money that big video games have. But that doesn't mean that it hasn't brought in big money. And the fact that we have all these companies that sustain all these people, be it large companies like Aerosoft and Orbix or just independent developers, there are enough people engaged in it for it to continue to remain relevant. But in the last 10 years or so, it hasn't really been relevant in the marketplace for a lot of people, because there hasn't really been any big name behind it to really get it out there. And because Microsoft has always owned it, and as far as prepared goes, Lockheed owns that. So I mean, there's really no one else to kind of bring these things to the forefront. So Dovetail bought it. They've created their own new simulator out of it, or in the process of doing so, I should say. And to have something like that back into the mainstream marketplace, I think is going to be a great thing. I don't know, and Amy, you might be able to answer this question, and I should save all this stuff for my interview with you at the convention. But I'm curious about this. Do you intend to have boxed products, even though, for example, like not Battlefield, what was that game that I used to play, Call of Duty? You could still go into like a Target, what would be the equivalent of Target in the UK, and you could still buy like the boxed CD or DVD or whatever. I mean, you still have to get home and put it up on Steam. But what makes it easier for a lot of people is you don't have to download it, which could take forever, especially if you have limited or pay for internet connection. You can just simply download it straight, or install it straight from the CD. So I guess what I'm curious, Amy, is does Dovetail intend to have boxed copies of this new simulator, even if you still have to get it through Steam, just on store shelves, because obviously you still go into stores and, you know, they're still, it's actually kind of rare now. I'm trying to think when's the last time I saw PC titles on the store shelf. Do they still do that? So, I mean, that'd be my question, because I dream for the day of walking into a store and seeing a Flight Simulator title on the shelf. Fry's Electronics, they used to carry a lot of, like, Just Flight and Aerosoft, like, boxed add-ons back in the day, but I think it's been a while since I've seen anything new. So, that's a good question. So, anyway, spun out. Come on. Get control, get control, get control. There you go. Okay, so just taking a look at the night lighting here. The runway obviously looks much better at night. Also taking a look at the runway edge lighting here, which also looks very nice. Let me see if I can get us a little bit closer to some of these edge lights here. As I was busy running my mouth and flying over the airport, I was actually really impressed with the night lighting on the runway and the taxiway edge lights. That was really nice. Let me see. Let me just take off here and spin it around really quickly and take a look at those approach lights. Let me see. I got to scroll back up now. Let's see if I can catch some more comments here. Sorry, I'm trying my best to multitask. Let's see. B. Crawley says that town looks stunning. Trying to catch up on some of these here. Let me swing the helicopter around one more time. Take a look at some of those night lights up there. Yeah, the lights really caught my eye. Look at that. The lights are really catching my eye. That's really nice. I like the way it's lit. So we have the lead-in approach lights here. The strobe, lead-in strobe lights. And there's an aircraft on final approach coming in too. The Airfield night lighting is very nicely done. It looks like LED. It has a very LED-like appearance to it. I like the way the night lighting was done. I'm definitely impressed with the night lighting. That looks very good, especially for this airport, because, I mean, you've got terrain everywhere. You need nice night lights to bring you in. So I'm definitely impressed with the way that was done. Even the windsock there has a little bit of light shining up on it. And actually, I just saw a comment from Matthias who said that don't forget the airport at night, the highlight of the project, in his opinion. I'd have to agree and echo that. The night lighting here is really nicely done. Actually, I'm really impressed with the night lighting here. With the yeah, this is very nice. Very nicely done here. And I definitely like the way that the lights there cast those shadows, or cast the rays on the ground there. Even the static aircraft there are lit up rather nicely. Yeah, those are lit up very nicely. I'm going to pause. I know people don't like to look at a static screen, but there are a lot more people watching live than I expected at 1:55 in the morning. So usually there's not. I wasn't expecting a whole lot of comments. I was expecting a lot of people would just come back and watch us on YouTube later. But no worries. I just want to make sure I get to everyone's comments here. Give me just a second. Let's see. So one of the things that Matthias was pointing out in response to me is doing the ground different would mean the winter ground would not look good. Oh crap! Someone put another comment and then it jumped. Sorry, I've got to go back and find his comment now. Sorry. Okay, doing the ground different would mean the winter ground would not look good, or you would need two complete grounds that would make it a lot bigger. And then he says, check the edges, now they are snowy. So, yeah, that was definitely one thing that I did notice, though, is you do have this rather seamless sort of texture flow between the edges and onto the runway. There are some sceneries that I've seen where there's like a seam in the middle, and this just kind of flows right over it. So especially when it goes to the snow, you kind of have that snow brush, like as if the wind has blown some of the snow onto the runway. So you definitely get that effect, definitely in the winter. And maybe that's what Matthias is trying to say is that's why the developer chose to go that route. So that way you do have more of a natural feel of snow kind of fading onto the tarmac by doing it that way, as opposed to having a seam, which I've seen in a lot of different sceneries where you can kind of see the edges of where there is the pavement and then there's snow. And I've said this too, and I've pointed this out with a few developers during winter textures. Flightbeam is really good with it. They did an amazing job with Denver on that. But there are some sceneries where during the winter, it's like you're in the middle of, like, say, Switzerland during the winter, which I've been many times, and so I know how the tarmac should look. And a lot of these sceneries, I've found that it looks way too clean. It's like there's snow right on the edges, and there's like no snow or brush of snow on the actual tarmac itself, and that's always come off a little bit weird. So here, definitely you can see here where it's almost seamless, the way the kind of the whiteness just kind of flows onto the tarmac. Let's see, just catching up on some more comments really quick. B. Crawley says finding the ski lift is fun. And Matthias says VAS is also lower, much lower this way as well, in terms of how this airport was done. I don't think I think about VAS too much anymore in prepared. I can't think of the last, actually I have not had an out of memory error, I think, since 2.5, so that's really good. But because we still have a lot of people using FSX, and of course FSX Steam Edition, that's something that, which is still a lot of people, so that's something that developers still need to take into consideration, focusing on VAS. So definitely that makes a lot of sense. Let's see, just still scrolling down here. Let's see. Sorry, just one moment. And Nielsen's pointing out that Wilco just shared a new video of the Falcon 7X. Yes, I do have the 7X on my computer here, but I can't show it off because that would be a breach. But the one that I have had quite a few bugs in it, and they're in the process of really working on all those bugs. That's basically the point that they're kind of up to now, I think, is bug exterminating. But yeah, thanks for that video. I'll make sure I get it up on the site. Let's see here. Sorry, just still scrolling through. Still scrolling down. Sorry, guys. I know you're staring at like a static screen. And let's see. Oh, this is funny. So Fabian says, the good stuff is we call this work. It's part of their day, just kind of hanging out and watching the stream. Oh, so Amy does respond to my question earlier, and she said that it doesn't bother us, no. We like constructive criticism. We listen to it and we learn from it. And that's the kind of response. I hope I'm not like too much of an asshole. I mean, I try not to be. I know I can be, though, and many people have called me that, and I do accept that because sometimes I really can be. But, that's kind of the response from, someone that you can tell actually cares. And I think a lot of us just kind of felt like, when Microsoft started up with Flight, that for the first time they were actually showing that they had like a real concern and care for the community because of how they were bringing in all these developers and stuff when it, for Flight. And then when that whole thing kind of fell through, I had a lot of developers tell me, and express their, their disappointment. And so it was almost kind of like a bait and switch sort of thing. And I think a lot of people were kind of walked away from that feeling a little bit, like they were dangled the carrot. But with Dovetail, I mean, obviously you can see that there's definitely a concern, and they've put a lot of money into this, and so it's nice to see that it shows that someone cares when they are listening to and looking at the feedback. And one of the things that I did see that was mentioned somewhere that the flight school was even postponed a little bit to implement corrections for a lot of feedback that a lot of people gave about it. So very lovely thing, very lovely thing. Let me just continue scrolling around here. Let's see. Sorry, give me almost done. Almost done. Almost done. Still scrolling around here. So Amy says not boxed with discs, and I think that was in response to the question of whether or not we would actually see the new Dovetail Flight Simulator 2016 or whatever they're calling it in store shelves. So she's saying not boxed with discs, but I'm assuming that does mean that they will probably have boxed versions of it that you can still go into a store and buy it. A lot of people probably don't have. Does Steam take PayPal? I don't know, but a lot of people are maybe too young for credit cards and stuff, so maybe they can go into a store with cash and at least buy the box, which would contain, I guess, the registration and serial information, and then I guess still have to download it. But good point. Matthias says Media Market has on average 20 FS add-on titles in box. So I know in Europe it's still far more than that of the US in terms of still seeing boxes. US not so much anymore. So yeah, that's why I think it's great that we might still start to see some of this again. I think that's a really good question. Jordan asks, there's a reason why there are still a lot of box products in Europe. Could it be because of internet speeds? And my understanding is Europe has the highest internet speeds in the world, if I'm not mistaken. So Fabian says no. I guess we have as many old customers as they prefer to have a physical box and are scared of downloads. So Matthias says it's because we spend a lot of time keeping the boxes. No one did that in the U.S. Misha from Orbix commenting on the lights of Aspen. Let me see if I can keep the scenery rolling here while I talk at the same time. But Misha says the airport nights look great. Let's see here. Still scrolling through some of the comments here. Yeah, see, even Matthias points out download speeds in Europe are on average 50% higher in Europe compared to the U.S. Yeah, I've known that as well for some time. After all, that is where the internet was invented, was in Europe. A lot of people don't know that. In this little place in between France and Switzerland called CERN, they invented the internet. A lot of people don't know that. Nevertheless, yeah, it was not Al Gore, for anyone who, lest anyone think that that was the case. Let's see. Still scrolling down. And the Iron Warrior J says, hello, ADX. I'm one of those FSX Steam Edition guys. And so good for you, because the folks and ladies and gentlemen who brought that to you is actually here. So that's a really good thing. You can actually chat. Amy is there. She's part of the company who brought you that Steam Edition, because FSX Box Edition was such a pain in the butt, and Steam made it a lot better. Although, Amy, I'm hoping that you guys, I know we talked about it before in the past, if you guys have at all looked into how I can stream Steam Edition in full screen mode, because with OBS, it just goes black. There's still something in FSX that's preventing it, because I've been wanting to do this review on this Tobii IX controller, which allows you to control your views with your eyes, and it seems really weird. And I have this Tobii IX controller. It's sitting in a box. It's still sealed, sitting on my desk, and it's been sitting on my desk for a few months now. But they haven't worked out compatibility with Prepared yet, but they do have the compatibility with Steam Edition, but I can't do full screen mode, and so that's kind of bugging. So I don't know if you guys have looked into that or not, but that would be most helpful. Let's see. Sorry, just making my way down here. In the U.S., a Sci-Tech yoke is impossible to find and costs $1 billion on eBay. Yeah, they eventually sold out, because I know the Fry's over here in Manhattan Beach, they had boxes and boxes of them just falling off the shelves. And I remember when I first got, what is that? My wife bought, she bought the yoke for me, and it was funny because we just walked right into Fry's and just like grabbed one of them that was on the floor because they were just piling up. And then at some point they sold out. So I guess that's a good thing, because that means more people are buying flight simulation stuff, but maybe they're buying it for other games and not just Flight Simulator. That's a good question. But for those of you looking for yokes, I can tell you this. There are some more yokes coming on the market very soon, but I'm not sure what the price point is going to be. But there's a few companies I've been in touch with. One's in Switzerland, one I believe is in Canada, and one is here in the U.S. And they're all bringing new yokes to market, I believe, this year. Actually, 4 companies. There's another company bringing a yoke to market, and I'm not allowed to talk about that, so that's all I'm going to say about it. But yeah, you can expect that there's going to be probably by 2017 4 new yokes on the market to kind of, and of the 4, at least 2 are going to try to compete with Cytec. So definitely something to keep in mind for those of you who are looking for a new yoke, and Cytec is just like kind of sold out. Definitely something to keep in mind there. Let's see. But there is one particular company that's really looking to take on Cytec like 100% at their price point and everything, but they're promising a much higher quality of yoke. And so I think it's going to be really interesting when they roll this out to market. Jordan probably knows what I'm talking about. We can't talk about it, but really looking forward to that because that's going to be great. I mean, I think it's going to blow you guys away once you actually see it. All right, scrolling down here. Amy says, I would suggest getting either a flight stick or Xbox controller. I have never tried to fly Flight Simulator with an Xbox controller before. But Nolan does that, and he's quite good at it. So it is possible. So anyway, just scrolling through the comments while you guys continue to look at these stunning vistas here. As the sun continues to go down. Let's see. Yeah, I did pick up a, were you with us, Misha, that night when we did that? I think, yeah, Misha was with us. We were at Fry's and looking around. And I saw this new force feedback flight stick that they had at Fry's. I never heard of the company before, but I was just like, oh my God, I have to try this now. I just have to, because when's the last time we've seen force feedback? And by the way, I was mentioning another yoke coming to market. One of them is a new control loading yoke, which is not Iris Dynamics, although I should mention Iris Dynamics did just announce a new yoke, and I have to get that up on the website. I just remember that. Someone told me about it, and I forgot. But there's another company who's actually bringing a force feedback yoke to market, full force feedback. And I can't talk about it yet. I've seen it. They've shown me pictures of it, and I will probably have my hands on it after Flight Sim Con. Right after Flight Sim Con, I'll be in New York for a week, and then I'm rushing off to somewhere, to places unknown, to try out new, never-before-seen stuff. So a company is actually paying to fly me out and put me up to test out some of their new equipment. So I'll be doing that about a week after Flight Sim Con, and they've said you can bring all your cameras and your video and take. So by the time I leave there, I should be able to show you guys everything that I have seen and have gotten to play with, and maybe if I'm lucky, they'll let me take something home. Maybe not that lucky, but yeah, there is a new force feedback. They don't know though what it's going to cost. This same company also has a full motion simulator platform that goes right underneath your seat, and that's cool. I'm looking forward to trying that out too. They also don't know what that's going to cost, but it's not big at all. It's really small. It goes right under your chair, and it gives you like full motion under your chair for flying, and I think that's going to be great to actually be able to feel some of those light forces. For example, like when I flew the Level D simulator out in Long Beach, you know, when you're flying it, it's not jerky movements at all. It's very light and smooth, and so that's what they're trying to emulate with this little platform that they've designed, is to give you those same smooth movements during flight. So all of that stuff will be up on Air Daily X at some point toward the latter end of the summer, because I'll have to take the time and put all these videos together. But for those of you who are like looking for something new, what is this place? I just found something here. For those of you looking for something new, there is some stuff coming to market soon, so I would just say be patient. Oh, this is the hospital. Nice. Let's put this down right over in the hospital. So Fabian, Matthias, if you guys are still here, is there any other part of the scenery that you'd like to show off, or something that I missed or didn't get to? I think I've pretty much got it. It's not super huge, and obviously we usually like to try to leave a little... Oh, now I'm not flying this well at all. I usually like to leave a little something to the... for folks to sort of explore on their own. Let's set that down. Ah! There we go. And look at those night lights, though. One thing I can definitely point out about this scenery, if it's one thing that really impressed me, is the lighting. That, yeah, really nicely done. Really loving the lighting here. I guess I should put that more closer to the H. Oh, that was terrible. That was horrible. All right, folks. Well, it is. Let me go back to my late night voice, because usually when I do streams at this hour, I go to my late night radio voice, and I've refrained from doing that too much because there's so many respected people that join the stream. Usually it's just us nuts who screw around, but I'm going to switch back to the late night voice. That's lightly. Whoa, wait a minute. Let's do that again. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is the late night stream, and just want to take some time to thank all of you for coming in and having a chat. This, of course, is Aspen, and it has been just released by Aerosoft. In fact, I think we'll take a moment and head over to the Aerosoft page so we can just have a brief look at how much this is going to set you back. That's right, it's the late night stream, and it's rare that I get to do streams this late at night, but when I do, I always make sure that it's nice and smooth on your FM dial. That's right. Special thanks going out to Fabian and Matthias of Aerosoft. Amy from Dovetail Games, she's tuning in tonight from the UK. Amy, this song is for you. I don't have any music, sorry. Anyway, Misha says, D, how the heck aren't you in radio? I guess one of the things we should have done while you were here was a live stream, Misha. I think I intended to do that at some point, but then we never did get to do it. You had so much work to do while you were here, so. Misha, of course, is busy working on what is going to be the biggest and most beautiful thing he's ever set out to do. And I can't say anything else. But if you're coming to Flight SimCon, you'll be able to see what he's been working on firsthand. And I got to tell you, Misha is blowing me away. I mean, I am just I am shocked. There's only so many things I can say to try to give you guys even an idea of what he's working on. But let's just put it this way. Some of the things that he's doing, no one has ever done before. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I mean, this is like a first, especially when it comes to detail. He is doing things that I have never seen, and I have touched many a scenery in my life, and what he's doing is unlike anything I have ever seen, aside from real life. So Flight SimCon is where it'll be initially announced, and you guys are going to love it. So anyway, let's plop our helicopter down here in front of the FBO again. And let's see, I think that's about it. My blood is still rolling here, so I'll probably still be awake for another hour before I can fall asleep. But again, just want to... Oh, you know what? No, I did say that we were going to head over to the Aerosoft product page, didn't we? Let's do that really quickly so that you folks know where you can buy this. Aerosoft.com. And it'd probably be helpful if you guys could actually see the desktop so that we know where we're going. Aspen Extended, out now. And what does this cost? So that's 21 bucks. Oh my God, I didn't know it was that cheap. Sorry. Thank you, Fabian. Fabian was so kind to provide this copy for the live stream. But I didn't even bother to look at the price. I can't believe this. It's only 21 bucks. Oh my God. Yes, you should run out and get that right now. I thought it was like going to be like around $30. I didn't realize it was only 21 bucks. 21 bucks. So this is without VAT, of course. So if you're in the States, you do not have to deal with that VAT, which I got to say is BS. I am so sorry for you guys in Europe who have to deal with that VAT tax. But especially for developers too, because I think it hits you guys also because you know, such a chunk comes out of your bottom line, I think, with the VAT or something like that, right? I'm not really sure how the whole thing works. It's all kind of confusing. But nevertheless, this is where it is. Amy is taking off. Amy, thank you so much for coming on board. Looking forward to seeing you in 1 month and like 10 days or something like that. It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. For some of you guys who are not able to come to the convention, one of the things I'm working on through Periscope is to stream everything through Periscope, and then through Periscope through Twitch. So you'll be able to watch on your cell phone, or you can watch on your computer. I'm trying to find a way to stream it so that for those of you who can't be there, you can see quite a bit of it going on live. So it should be fun. But nevertheless, yes, Aspen extended, $21.31. So now we get down to the final question. Should you buy it? Absolutely. Absolutely. And here's why. Number one, it's Aspen, for goodness sake, right? Number two, you can't beat the price of $21.31. I don't care where you're from. I mean, that's an amazing price, a very affordable price, especially given the fact that so many people are, you know, starving students and, you know, don't have a whole lot of money to spend. The city lighting is just terrific. You know, you have that beautiful valley. You've got the photo real terrain coverage. All of the airport building models are just spectacular. The developer did just an amazing job with that. I love his vegetation. His 3D objects were well done as well. So there was so much in the scenery that was done right. I pointed out one thing that I felt could have been done differently, which had to do with the runway and ramp textures. I didn't have any really other real gripes other than the scenery coverage area. I think could have been just a little bit expanded a little bit further through the mountains. And aside from that, there were certain parts in the area, in the coverage area, that had like these dark shadows. But that was pretty much it. Everything else, I loved the animated ski lift, the hospital with the helipad, and all the night lighting. Very, very nicely done. So I definitely recommend you head out and get a copy of Aspen. I know I certainly will be enjoying it. And again, you know, like I said, it's not that the ramp textures are bad. It's just, you know, it's not something that I look for. But Matthias did address why it was done that way. And so ultimately, when it comes down to the seasonal variations, obviously you're going to have a lot more fun flying here in winter than any other time of year. And with the winter textures, it looks best, and as well as those night textures. So very, very nicely done. And of course, there are a lot of, as you can see here on your screen, a lot of local landmarks that were added in there as well. Let's see. Well, let's take a look at what it says. It says here, up-to-date rendering of Aspen-Pitkin County Airport, including extended runway and new taxiways, fire station with Oshkosh Striker, fixed-based operator, terminal and hangars, fully backed high-resolution textures with ambient occlusion shadows and light maps with all airport and town models. 100 square kilometers of high-resolution photo scenery, 30 centimeter per pixel, covering the Aspen Valley with full seasonal and night lighting variations. 5 meter, LOD 13 mesh, covering 24 square kilometers of the Rocky Mountains around Aspen. Tarmac and runway markings with realistic wet weather and specular effects. We didn't actually see that. Hang on a second. We did not see that. And the other thing we didn't look at yet either is the control panel that goes with that too. So we should probably do that. All right, so let's change the weather really quickly here. It's just like rain. Where's weather? Down here somewhere. Gray and rainy. Where's the thing at? Sorry. Switch back to that. Oh, yeah, there it is. I don't know if this takes. Does this take advantage of? Let me see. Let me pull up the product page one more time. Tarmac runway markings, realistic wet weather, and specular effects. But does it take advantage of that, like that new prepared? I don't know what you call it. I'm going to switch back over to desktop real quick. I forget what this option is called. Options, settings. It's what do they call it? Scenery, lighting, dynamic reflections. I don't know if this takes advantage of dynamic reflections, but this stuff like kills my performance. I'm just curious. I'm going to turn that up. I'm not sure if it... No, it doesn't. I think the... Oh, well, actually, look, check that out. The terminal glass does have dynamic reflections. Look at that. So if you... Wow. I wasn't actually expecting that. But if you look at the terminal glass, you can see now where it's reflecting the actual background, the physical mountain that is in front of it. So... That's actually pretty neat. I didn't even... Oh, yeah, and you can see the terminal. Yeah, so it does take advantage of it. You can barely see it. It's subtle. But if you look at the ground, you can see there the terminal is actually reflected in the tarmac there. So, yes, it does take full advantage of those prepared effects. Yeah, that's awesome. Look at that. And now I was complaining a little bit earlier because I didn't like how the image was there in the background. But now you can see it looks like way cooler now. Yeah, that's neat. Usually this kills my performance, but it's actually not doing too bad. I just want to take a look at those reflections now because that looks really neat. And then let me fly over to the helicopter or the control tower too, because I'm sure the control tower probably reflects the same thing. And then the last thing I want to take a look at actually is that fire station. The fire station should then show the opposite background effect. Let's just take a quick look. Yeah, look at that. That's neat. You can see the ground textures there because it's angled downward. You can see there's a little taxi. Ooh, I'm crashing into the things. I'm so busy looking at it. You can see the hangar reflections, everything in there. That's neat. He actually did implement that. Nice. And not only that, but when you have those turned on too, it also makes the tarmac look more like a tarmac now. That definitely looks much more realistic. I guess with this scenery, I'll actually utilize this feature. The frame rates I'm getting, though, it's between 24 and 34 frames per second. But that's with this particular aircraft, though. I think with an NGX, it would go down quite a bit more. And let's just take a quick look. I want to see the reflections here in the firehouse as well. Give me just 1 second. Yeah, and there it is. Look at that. That is cool. All right, well, there was another little thing there pointed out. Looks very good. That little jumping box there. So we know what's causing that now, and that has to do with a setting in the control panel. In fact, what I probably should do now is pull up that little control panel. So anyway, here are the rest of the features that it comes with. And that was the Benedict music tent, that beautiful thing that was lit up at night. That's what that was. Animated silver crane gondola to Ajax, and you have extremely dense custom Aspen style autogen houses and mansions, which I also brought up. Static CRJ, United Express, and Delta liveries. Realistic new runway and street lighting system. Animated windsocks. Compatible with Vero FS Heart of Colorado photo scenery. So you can definitely see, okay, this is really the scenery that he's made this compatible with. So not really, I would say, abrupt with FTX Global, but you do see kind of the seams there. But for those of you who like photo scenery, and there are a lot of you who really like photo scenery, if you're using this particular product here, you're going to have the best blending. Really the best of all worlds, so that's good. Now let me look for that control panel really quickly. Give me 1 second. Where is the thingy? Sorry. Let me see. I've got to navigate to my Aerosoft folder. I guess what it would have made it I guess made it stand out to me is I guess if it would have dropped like a shortcut of the tool on my desktop, that probably would have opened my eyes, but that's okay. Aspen extended. Hopefully the config tool, oh, what is this? Okay, hopefully that config tool will still work. All right, so let's go back to desktop. So we have here select summer or winter. So obviously summer was set there by default. Is that it? Is there not? Oh, I thought there would be more options here. I thought there would be another option in there, but maybe not. Because Matthias was saying that both DX9 and DX10 options were selected in there, but I'll have to read the manual and find out where I'm supposed to like handle that. Let's see. Yep, that's good, good, good. Winter, summer. Optimizing frame rate. I thought the frame rates here were actually quite good, even with my high settings. I'm not really concerned about frame rate. That's nice. Photo scenery. If you're using Prepared, you'll be able to use Frank, our pilot, as the avatar. See Prepared V3 documentation about information on avatars when selecting an aircraft. You can also select an avatar to be loaded. Oh, we have to find Frank. Huh. We didn't find Frank, did we? Where are you, Frank? Let's meet Frank real quick. Don't get jealous, avatar guy. Let me see. We're almost done with the stream here, folks. I'm just making sure I'm pouring through here because I really didn't, and I should have. Let's see. Before you attempt a low visibility IFR landing, you will need to read the charts and prepare for some non-standard maneuvers. Yeah. 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 All right. I think that's about it. I have to take a look at that, what Matthias was saying earlier about DX9, DX10, though. I think he's left us already, so I have to go in and look at that to find out what was up with that little spinning, floaty, boxy thing. Let's go ahead and meet Frank real quick. Is he in here? Frank, Aerosoft pilot. Yeah. Let's see. Let's go back up to the simulator real quick and meet Frank before we go. I won't do a voice for Frank because I don't know what Frank is supposed to sound like. And there's Frank. Nice Aerosoft vest there. I have to fix my my images. He actually walks a little bit different too. This is a whole different avatar model. He has his own walk and everything to him. Very interesting. Nice, nice safety vest, Aerosoft safety vest there. So there's Frank. We should have used Frank to walk around. Nevertheless, all right, folks. So there's Aspen. I'm going to take one last look. If there are any other final questions. Oh, Matthias said it's at the beginning of the manual. Let me go back to the manual real quick, because I definitely want to make sure I fix that. I wouldn't want to show anything at a negative setting here. Copyrights. Oh, here we go. Okay. If you use DX10, which I don't because it's prepared, but you might want to use a special WinSock file. You'll find it in the FS main folder, Aerosoft Aspen Extended Scenery folder. Rename the existing Aspen WinSocks DX9 BGL to Aspen WinSocks DX9 off. There it is there. So it's a manual thing. I was thinking it was like in the in that scenery tool. So all right, so I've got to take a look here because Matthias is saying basically they're both on, and that's what's creating it. So in order for it to work, though, I'd have to shut down the simulator, and we're obviously a little bit too late for that. So I'll have to find out which one I need to switch off and then go back and try it in a little bit later on. Okay. Other than that, I'm going to take one last look at the final comments and get ready for bed. It's 2:30 in the morning. Let's see. Fabian says we need to hire DeAndre to read our product descriptions. Sometimes this is a really bad time for me though, because I've been having really bad allergies, and so my voice is just all over the place. Let's see. Just checking any last. Oh, B. Crawley is asking, can you see the chopper in the glass? Not yet. That has to do with the way Prepared codes this. It has nothing to do with the developers. So, as of right now, no, you cannot see like your sim objects in reflection. So I always thought that was their point, like they were going to do that, but they haven't. But maybe that's going to come in a future update, because my whole thought was, wow, that's going to be so cool when you're pulling up to a terminal and you see your actual like aircraft reflection doing that. But no, it only has to do with like sim objects and static scenery objects. So that's not happening yet, but maybe in a future update with Prepared, or I don't know. Amy was here a little bit, but maybe they'll do that with the upcoming Dovetail simulator. That'll be interesting. So we'll see. Okay, and Zaza Boyne's asking if this is going to be up on YouTube. Yes, it will be. I will start uploading it now. So, yeah, I guess that is it. So, once again, I want to just huge thanks to Matthias. Really looking forward to meeting you at this year's Flight Sim Con. I think it's going to be great. Looking forward to interviewing you and getting to know a little bit more. I think a lot of people know who you are as kind of the face of Aerosoft. But I think I'm sure you have a very interesting story to tell in terms of your foray into flight simulation, and I'm willing to bet it's probably before I was born. I'm pretty sure you've been at this for a long time, so it's almost like kind of hearing a legend give us a story. So yeah, really looking forward to meeting you and meeting you at Flight Sim Con. And I think it's going to be great. For those of you who can't be there, again, I'm working on a way that we can kind of stream a lot of it so you can see a lot of what's going on, and hopefully it'll give you some impetus to save some money. We're going to cross the runway here. Hopefully there's nothing on the active here. Yeah, hopefully. So again, Aerosoft Aspen, it's only like $21, and this is all you get for it. I mean, I think this is incredible. So definitely head out and get a copy of Aspen. This is just, does this guy run? I don't know how you make him run. I forget. It's one of these keys. Yeah, head out and grab Aspen. Very nicely done, and it's a nice short flight from Vail too. So it didn't take us too long to get here at all. And finally, it's here. We've been bugging and complaining forever. Is it out yet? 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 And you know, Matthias is like, no. So yes, it is finally out. It is here, and really curious what this developer is going to work on next. Let's zoom in on that terminal there. But yeah, finally, it's here, and we have an updated version of Aspen. So I hope you guys will enjoy it. I'm certainly going to enjoy it, and hopefully the stream here just gave you a little bit more of what you see on the product page, so you kind of know what you're getting in real time, which is kind of the point of all these live streams. And with all that said, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I appreciate it. This was huge. I was only expecting maybe 1 or 2 people to tune in, and I'd be talking to myself because it's such an unusual time to be streaming. But so glad you all tuned in and kept me company, and hopefully my running my mouth for the last 2 hours didn't bore you guys too much. Once again, aerosoft.com for Aspen. Happy flight simming, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Good night. Trouble, or maybe you're just heading out to work, and for the rest of us on this side of the planet, we should be in bed. So that's what I'm going to do now. Again, thanks so much for tuning in, and happy flight simming, everyone. And we'll see you next time. Good night.